You know, as I've talked about before, a fan by the name of Jacob is creating a complete history of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic SatAM book. And he hopes to have it out by at least next year. And what's interesting about this is not just the fact that I contributed something that I kind of promised him I would do, and that is basically a lot of SatAM stuff that I got off of eBay and some that was given to me by Frank Hill. It's Frank. But also the fact that he's basically running the gambit with this book. I mean, he's going, from corner to corner to corner, touching upon every little thing that ties into the history of Sonic SatAM. From its conception, how it began, everything in between, every nook and cranny he can find, he's trying to get in there. But the one question I'm sure a lot of people have is, how is he able to do this? How is a fan of any kind able to put a book like this together? Well, I'll give you a good example. Let us talk about Pat Contra, otherwise known as Pat the NES Punk. Now, Pat the NES Punk, or Pat Contra, recently, over the past several years, had been working on several books. And two of those books that he's released recently have been known as the ultimate guidebook to the NES and the SNES. And he's currently working on one for the N64. In each book, he goes over every game that has been released for the systems. He gives his thoughts, he gives his ratings, and he also touches upon the history of the NES and the SNES and the N64 and the upcoming one, and how they came to be. He does everything needed. Of course, he has a team of people to help him out as well, but he is doing all this research, getting in contact with the right people, just covering every nook, covering every inch, square peg, nook and cranny, going from post to post to post to post to post, corner to corner, to make sure he doesn't leave anything out. And here's the thing. Those guidebooks, folks, they're not licensed or officially licensed, or even if you will, they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not licensed, they're not officially licensed or even endorsed. That's the word I'm looking for, endorsed by Nintendo. These are all a personal project that Pat and his team came up with. And that through this project, he was able to, like I said, get in contact with every single person and entity, anybody he could talk to, any kind of information he can get, he was able to obtain. And like I said, the book is not officially licensed or endorsed by Nintendo as far as I know. And the same could be said when anybody talks about, let's say, anime. There's an anime book out there that Bennett DeSage and Chris Stuckman are a part of. It actually was done by Chris Stuckman, and Bennett DeSage and others are a part of. Now, is it officially endorsed by every manga and anime studio out there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, you take a look at some of these ultimate guidebooks for Transformers and G.I. Joe and MLP G1 up to G4. Are they officially endorsed at times by Hasbro? No. Especially the guide and especially the price guide and everything. Do you think Hasbro and Takara officially licensed those? No. Do you think they endorsed them? No. So when anybody asks the question as to how somebody like this Jacob individual can, make this possible, make this happen, it's the fact that he can, because he doesn't have to worry about endorsement. He's not. Here's the thing. He's talking about a version of Sonic that basically Sega of Japan wants nothing to do with. He's talking about a version of Sonic that Sega of America wants everything to do with. He's talking about a version of Sonic that has basically become such a cult classic that you cannot deny the fan base anytime you're around them. He's talking about a version of Sonic that at one point, when you went by the Sega store when it was in Las Vegas, I don't know if it's still there, and they had this big 75-inch 1080p screen, a 4K screen in the window, or displayed inside that you could see from outside the store. On that screen at one point, and somebody posted this, if you will, somebody actually posted this. They were showing an episode of Sonic Sat AM, and the image they were able to take, the picture they were able to take and upload onto some of the sites was not just an episode of Sonic Sat AM, but it was an episode where the scene that they were able to capture in the picture they took had Sally on it. So, yeah. He's talking about, a version of Sonic that, again, SOJ doesn't want nothing to do with. SOE sometimes wants nothing to do with. But SOA does. And this is a version of Sonic that, like I said, he knows has such a tremendous, controversial, at times, underrated history and at times underappreciated history, by those that, always wonder what's the big deal. So here in this book, he's going to do what he can to make it a reality that everybody that wonders why fans are behind this show, why fans like certain characters and everything, he's going to make sure that you know every detail from front to back, cover to cover. Every inch is going to be covered. And again, he's going to be talking about everything. The show, how it came about, everything. He's going to talk about it all. So if you're wondering, how can someone like this guy do this book? Again, I give you examples of Pat Contra, what he did with the Nintendo books he made. I give you an example of what Chris Stuckman did with the help of people like Bennett the Sage in their anime book. I give you examples of some of the guidebooks to things like Transformers, G.I. Joe, MLP, Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Most of these, yes, are endorsed at times, but they're not licensed. And that's a fact. That is a cold, hard truth. So again, if you're wondering why, it's real simple. Look at Pat Contra and what he did with the Ultimate Guidebooks for the SNES and the NES and the upcoming one for the N64. Take a look at what Chris Stuckman and Bennett the Sage and others did for their anime book. And look at all the other examples out there. Just because a book may not be endorsed or officially licensed doesn't mean it can't be made. Because if you're going to put the work into making it happen and making it a reality for people to have on the bookshelves at home, then I don't see a problem whatsoever, is what I'm trying to say. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. Like the video. live chat during the premiere. Check out my Teespring store. Check me out on Patreon at BW Roses. Check me out on Vimeo at BW Roses. Check me out on BW Roses Discussion on your favorite audio podcast, with the exception of Pandora. And that's about it, guys. So till next time, God bless, take care, and I am out.